Yes, the real estate market in New York City is a little bit insane. And I know in this economy, we're all trying to look for ways to cut down on our spending and really prioritize what's important. But if your dream is to move to New York City, or you're just interested in the real estate market and love looking at different apartment tours, then you're in luck. So if you didn't catch it, make sure you go check out my last video where we went apartment hunting in Manhattan and looked at studios and one bedrooms under $3,500. And I heard y'all, the budget was pretty steep. So today I thought I'd share with you a whole new batch of New York City apartment hunting tours on a budget under $2,500. And for this, we're also switching up a little bit of the area of our apartment hunt. So we're mostly going to be looking at Upper Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. As you all mentioned, these areas really make up a lot of what New York City is, and they're only a train ride away from Manhattan. And it is a few months till my lease is up, but I'm also super interested in familiarizing myself with more of these areas and seeing what we can get for this budget. So let's start with what we're looking for. Here's a few of the apartment hunting criteria. As mentioned, the price point, we want to stay under $2,500. I tried to use $2,000 as my median price, so we'll be looking at things under and just over that. This oftentimes ends up being a studio or a one bedroom, but obviously the more spacious, the better. We're definitely looking for as much space and storage as possible. Another one would be natural light. I know that in the wintertime without natural light, it can be so easy to get down and gloomy. And this is my first winter truly experiencing temperatures under 30 degrees for the winter time, and you really truly don't want to go outside. You need that natural light, especially if you're a creator in the space. Having good lighting is really important, but just on a day-to-day, having natural light is super important. And lastly, I like to look for apartments that have a little bit more of a New York charm to them. So not completely modern that you can find that unit anywhere. I like to look at apartments that have like that New York feel, that New York charm. Even that older like pre-war style is very charming to me. So now for a few of my apartment hunting tips. I go a lot more in depth about all my tips and especially which areas to look at in my previous Manhattan apartment hunting video, so definitely go check that out. But I'm gonna quickly run over my top 3 apartment hunting tips just as kind of like a quick recap for you. 1, look for apartments on streeteasy.com. This is the best website to go apartment hunting in New York City because it really caters to the different sub areas that are very specific to New York. It's also what I used to get in contact with the leasing agents specifically. I messaged them through Street Easy, and then we would continue communication on email after that to work out the apartment tours. Number 2 is a lot of people ask, when do you start looking for apartments? It's best practice to look a month and a half to a month out from when you actually plan on moving. You don't want to hunt too early because then the leasing agents won't want to show you the units and they'll prioritize other people that are willing to sign more quickly. And 3 is be prepared to move fast. I'm going to quickly put all the things on the screen here that you could possibly need when it comes to moving to New York City. And a lot of it is just putting in the prep and the legwork ahead of time and being proactive, especially if you're coming from out of state and you're planning on doing a trip over a week or a weekend. Being prepared and organized is the best thing I can recommend. And of course, I also have to plug my New York City apartment hunting spreadsheet. This is my lifeblood, my pride and joy that I put together. I have a Notion and a Google Sheet template that you can find in the description down below. I've used this for every single apartment hunt to find all the different units, because once you start sending a bunch of emails out, the agents and the addresses all start getting mixed up and you have a lot of other stuff to be overwhelmed with. So being proactive and prepared better helps alleviate all that stress and keeps you set on what's important, like finding your dream unit. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into what we came here for. Let's start with the apartment tours. This will be apartment 1 and 2 because we look at 2 units in this building. This one's listed for $2,250 with no fee in the Bedford-Stuyvesant area. Hope I pronounced that right. The features were that it has hardwood floors, a live-in super, it's 4 stories with roof access. And both these units were on the first level. So first I took a quick clip of what the outside looks like. You kind of walk down and into the apartment. Then for the first unit, you walk in and there's the kitchen that's kind of broken up into 2 areas, the left and the right side. There wasn't any electricity. They just had a couple lights that were kind of staggered throughout. It kind of made the apartment feel a little bit eerie because there was no electricity, which it was just kind of giving that vibe with the lighting. But regardless, you walk over to the right and then there's the bedroom. You have the hardwood floors and enough space for a queen size bed. and a nice big closet with a little bit of built-in shelving as well. Okay, and then past the kitchen to the left side was where you could find the bathroom. This was giving all kinds of funky feelings because of the lighting and then like the way the shower curtain, and hard to really put yourself in the vibe of living in this unit just because the lighting was so weird, but it was just a little bit quirky of a shape, but overall not too bad. I did like this second unit better. So this was just down and towards the back side of the street, not towards facing the front street. And you start with the kitchen, which has a lot of lighting, and this one was newly renovated, and you can definitely tell the kitchen was all together and not divided up like the previous one. The bathroom also looks really nice and modern with this one had just a lot of natural light coming through. Even in the bathroom there was a lot of natural light, and the bedroom was so nice. I think they already had a couple dressers and a mirror here, which kind of helped you feel of what it would actually feel like to kind of have your bedroom here. And two really big windows that were looking towards the back. There was actually a patio out there with like a few dogs playing. You weren't allowed to go to the patio, but it was just really cute, like you know, a little sightseeing on the right side. I definitely like this unit better, but it was a higher price. I want to say it was $2,500, not $2,200 like the other one. But with all the natural light, it was actually a really good find. Also, you can learn a lot when you actually visit these areas. It's important to kind of feel out an area before you go there so you can get a sense of the culture. So that way you can better understand it and see if it's a good fit for you. Okay, so apartment technically number 3. Okay, so this next apartment was in Upper Manhattan, the Central Harlem area, and this unit was a studio listed for $1,875. It was a walk-up that was on the first floor, not the ground floor, but with the stairs to walk up, it was technically the first floor. It was facing the street. There was no fee, rooftop access, and I think technically there were no pets, but he low-key said a cat would be fine. If you can't tell by now, I have been a sucker for this like pre-war style. I loved the outside of it, and the red was so cute already. They had really, really tall ceilings. I was just drawn aback by this huge mirror that, yes, did come with a unit, like in-unit huge mirror, gorgeous. Just to the right there, we have the kitchen area, mostly white appliances, like an older finish, a lot of like dark brown reds. Walking to the left side, you do have 2 huge windows. Again, this is facing the street, so I'm not exactly sure how much you would allow those windows to be open to let light come through, but you do have pretty big windows. A little bit of overhead lighting in terms of the chandeliers. And then walking to the back, you have the bathroom. Again, a little bit older style in terms of lighting and like the tiling, but very nice and clean. And then that is the single closet that you have in this unit. There was heating, but no air conditioning. It was kind of close to the subway, but I'm noticing that some of these units were a further walk from the subway. If you're like a solo person, I think that was a pretty reasonable price for what you can expect in a studio in the Upper Manhattan area. So if you're looking for like a studio and you're living alone, definitely check out the upper side of Manhattan for sure. So for the next apartment, we are back in Brooklyn, Crown Heights specifically. This studio was listed for $2,275. Hardwood floors, heating and cooling in the unit, 2 closets, roof access, and it was really close to the 3 train, which does take you to a lot of convenient locations in Manhattan. To visit this unit, I loved how the girl had set up this apartment. Like, it was so cute. Like, I wish she could, like, I wish I could take it as it was. Unfortunately, she had a lot of her like clothes out everywhere, definitely into fashion and like a really good eye for like interior design and fashion, but it was like you could feel so much of her like personality in the unit. I just didn't feel right recording her place because like she had her clothes everywhere and like photos of herself and her friends, and she was definitely fully living there, so I just did not feel right recording it. But I got this video directly from the leasing agent, and he said this was the video that convinced her to move in. We'll just go over that. The hardwood floors were like actually gorgeous. Like, I know there's hardwood floors in a lot of places, but these were definitely very well taken care of. And you have 2 huge windows. Again, this is like a first floor unit on a walk up, really big windows. That brick wall, come on. Like, that brick wall is just so beautiful. Like, I think just the colors of this space with the brick wall was so nice. And this is actually where she had her bed, of course, because it's kind of like that studio setup. You have a separate section just for the kitchen, and then you have the fridge and the microwave. The microwave is on top of the fridge. I don't know if that's a safety hazard, but the microwave's on top of the fridge. Then you walk in and you have a separate closet all the way in the back, which is actually pretty spacious and could double as a storage. And then you had the bathroom, kind of similar to what we see in like an all-white bathroom. bathroom with a little window in the back. So yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for like that brick wall detailing. This location was very, very nice. It felt very safe when you were walking around, and like I said, very close to pretty convenient subway lines. So I think for that reason is why it was priced at that. I would say this was definitely one of my top units. Like, it was just super charming and I loved the layout of it. Okay, now this next one was listed for $1,899 in Brooklyn. Again, the Prospect Park area specifically. It was directly in front of a park, which I think was like a duck island is what it said on the map. And so if you had like pets or something like that, there was actually 2 people that came in with dogs as I was like touring this unit. So perfect if you have pets. And it also did have virtual security, so it was pretty safe. Walking in, you get like this grand lobby area. You even have to walk up the steps and towards the right to get to the unit. There was heating, but no air conditioning, so just keep that in mind. So walking in, I'll show you a clip, but there was actually a long, tall closet there. So when you first walk in, and this has actually darker hardwood floors, but there's a lot of windows in this unit. So there's quite a lot of light coming in, and you are facing the back, so you're not necessarily right on the street. And then walking to the left, you have like the closet that connects to the bathroom, which is pretty nice. Then you notice you have like a built-in storage kind of like organizer, and the ceilings were fairly tall too, which was pretty nice. Then in the bathroom, you also had a window there, overhead lighting, and nothing too spacious, but also pretty doable. What was interesting was the toilet though. It was like one of those that you have a stick that you like flush. So that was a little bit interesting. This would double as your living room / bedroom area and kind of like looks out to the back. Also, I really liked the like, what do you call that? The finishing that's like around the walls. I don't know. I'll try to put it on the screen if I remember what it's called. The color was nice. Then you walk over to the kitchen. There was definitely room for you to have a complete little dining area here. Then you have a gas stove, which was actually pretty nice. Another window, and then you have wooden cabinets. I will say, I lived in an apartment kind of like this before. It was kind of like painted over many times. In the back of my brain, I was remembering the unit I've lived in before that kind of looked like this, and there were always like maintenance issues, but that was nothing against this place. So that was like lingering in the back of my head. Overall, not too bad for what you got here. Nice neighborhood and pretty worth it. Which brings us to our next apartment. This one was listed for $2,300. It was in the Bensonhurst neighborhood. Hope I'm saying that right. Bensonhurst neighborhood, yeah, which is pretty far south in Brooklyn. It took me a long time to get to this area, and there was like no direct way for me to get there. I had to take a bus regardless of what train line I got to. And it felt very like suburbs in this area. There was a lot more homes. I feel like people have lived here for a very long time. There were maybe less apartments and more like stable housing, more stabilized living. It felt like in this area, like there was a lot of like older couples, and there was definitely schools around this area and stuff like that too. Okay, so I took a little video of the outside of the area, and then there was 2 other people touring this unit with me, and they were like really not happy with the unit. And so that kind of made me think like, wait, is this a good unit? I don't know. A few knocks people had for this was, one, it didn't include parking, which, I mean, I don't have a car, but like I said, this kind of seemed like a family area. So yeah, there wasn't any parking, and this was like a pretty tough street to park on. 2 was hot water was not included. Most units, hot water is included, but since each unit had their own like boiler unit, it was a separate price. So they were kind of like bummed about that. But kind of walking over to the bedroom too, they were kind of saying that the left bedroom was a little bit too small. Like it would maybe fit a bed and just that. There wasn't really that much room. But I feel like that was what we were seeing in most other units. So that looked pretty typical to me. There was plenty of closet space. I just don't think the location, you really get much of like that New York style from it. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. I think it was pretty fine for what you get. There wasn't a complete closet in this one, in the second bedroom. It was kind of just like an open area, but it was a little bit more spacious. So then I took a quick clip of the kitchen, kind of walking back towards the end. I thought it was pretty spacious, but actually you did have stainless steel appliances, so that was updated. You had the stove and the fridge, no microwave though. But as far as kitchens go, there was plenty of space, and space for like a completely full dining area. So yeah, take that one what you will. It was just older style, but I didn't really feel like it was giving much of like that New York charm. It just kind of felt like I could find this place kind of anywhere. Like it kind of looked like a place like my grandparents would live in or something. So it wasn't maybe necessarily for like my age group necessarily. Now this next apartment was in Williamsburg. Y'all, I had never really been to Williamsburg. Now I understand what it is. Like even the realtor was like such an example of what Williamsburg was like. Like you come out of the subways and there was thrifting everywhere, like thrifting for clothes, thrifting for antique little like there was so many cute little like antique stuff. I don't know how to explain it. Williamsburg was kind of like weird. Like it was like weird but like rich. I don't know, feeling more gentrified, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, in this area. But I'm so curious what you guys think of this unit. I need to know. This was on Diggs Avenue, listed for $2,200, and now that I'm looking at these listing photos, they did not show us the unit that was listed on Street Easy actually. This was a different unit, a dungeon unit. But I will say amenities were that it accommodates a queen bed, has a walk-in closet, large living room, and utilities were included. Anyways, it was nighttime when I went to visit this, but you kind of walked in and then like I said, you kind of had to walk down the stairs to like the dungeon area. The biggest thing about this apartment was it was just fluorescent lights galore. In the staged photos, it looked so good though, so I feel like you could definitely make something of this space, but the fact that there were 0 windows was definitely a knock, I feel like, for the price. However, there was so many people waiting for this unit. There was like 10 people, I kid you not, waiting outside, and we had to kind of like shuffle of people going in and out. So there was definitely a high priority simply because of the area. And I will say like it was very spacious though. Like the living room area was plenty. You could put office and living in there. It had like a whole separate area for what they called a walk-in closet. So that was pretty nice. It's just that everything was painted white and there was like barely any charm. Like you would need to bring a lot of color and warmth into this space to really make it feel like home. I think that was the kind of drawback here. You know, the bathroom was all right. Nothing really to say about it. Like it wasn't terrible. Lighting could be a little bit better. Definitely nice and clean is definitely more the priority. The kitchen was actually surprising because there was a lot of appliances in space. There was just a random pillar like right in the middle of it, and it led to the outdoor area, but you weren't allowed to use the outdoor area, so that was locked. And then walking over to the bedroom, yeah, you don't have hardwood floors here. It's all tiled. Now that I'm actually realizing this is like all tiled. There's space for a queen bed. Like in terms of space, you get a lot of space, but there's no natural light, like literally like 0 natural light here. And if you really care more about being in that Williamsburg space, like the location, like I said, really matters for this one. And there was definitely a super high interest. So yeah, I'm not even sure what the square footage was, but it was very spacious. So I'm really curious for your thoughts on this last unit. And that's it, y'all. That takes us to the end of the apartment hunting tour. We managed to tour 7 different units, all under $3,500. Some of these even under $2,000. So I really hope that could help give you a sense of what you can find in New York City, what the leasing market looks like in winter of 2025. And once again, I'll go ahead and plug my ultimate apartment hunting spreadsheet. It's on Notion and Google Sheet. You can use this to track all your different apartment tours. And I have 2 other apartment hunting videos. So make sure you check out the one I just posted, which is mainly centered in Manhattan, and the one I posted when I first found this apartment. So go ahead and check out those other 2 apartment hunting videos for much more in-depth information. That's all I have for now. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.